welcome back to another episode of Healing Our Community with Dr. Ray and Jean. Hi, I am Dr. Ray.
And I'm Jean.
And that's Jean. And this is Kim Schroeder. Hi, Kim.
Hello.
Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Yeah.
This is great.
So, this podcast is live every Wednesday at 12:15 on our Facebook page, KBH Center, and YouTube channel, KBH Center. If you wanted to catch any past episodes or anything like that, you can go to our website, kbhcenter.org, or you can go to our YouTube channel. You can get past episodes there as well. This podcast was designed to engage in real conversations about mental health, and mental health specifically as it applies to the Western Slope. And we have Kim Schroeder on today because we're talking about diet. We're talking about the mind-body connection, and how mental health is impacted by that. And this is kind of a follow-up conversation to our last podcast where we touched on this new movie that came out called Toxic Nation. And Toxic Nation talks about all the environmental factors that go into the unhealthiness that's happening in our society today. And Kim is kind of versed in a lot of things, energy medicine being one of them, but also being a holistic nutritionist. Is that correct?
Yes, I have a bachelor's in holistic nutrition.
That's fantastic. Yeah, so I think you could definitely lend to this conversation that we're going to have today. What do you think, Jean?
So, Be More You. How did you come up with that name?
Yeah, there we go.
Be More You. I chose the name because I felt that in my own life I needed tools to be more myself. We end up with layers and layers upon us with experience, traumas, toxicity. I had gone through my holistic nutrition degree, and that really was a springboard for the rest of my business, because what I learned in holistic nutrition was the rules that work in nutrition holistically, the rules that work in nature will layer on every level of our wellness. So then I was able to take that along to the energy work that I do, and sound and frequencies and the physics of frequencies, tuning forks, sound bowls, when I used to think that was all kind of crazy stuff. There was science behind it, and it followed the natural patterns, what I had learned in even my previous life to all of this, tons of Bible training, that there are spiritual laws, there are natural laws, and there are the physical, the mental, the emotional, the physics. When you start really looking at all of those levels, truth rises to the surface very easily, because you see it in every level, in every layer.
Yeah, that's like when I'm working with people, I'm always telling them to find their truth, and they can feel it in their body.
They can.
Which is really cool. And a lot of people talk about depression, but a lot of depression is spiritual. It isn't biological. It's something in your life is out of balance, and you're not going to feel good if you don't fix that.
Right. And there are those different levels. We have that spiritual piece, we have that mental and experiential piece, and then we also have that nutritional piece where, like this Toxic Nation, and I've seen many videos and documentaries over the years where the toxicity affects and layers on top of any trauma or depression, it just makes it harder. It just makes it harder. All of the neurotoxins, the excitotoxins, anything that's not natural will throw a chaos or a static into the cells of our body. And when we're talking about our mental health and our brain is a physical mass of cells as much as it is our thoughts. This physical mass of cells needs holistic fats. It needs certain nutrients to fire the connections, to have the electrical impulse or the pulses going on. And our brain and nervous system, it's an electrical system, electromagnetic, but it does need those things, those natural physical things for the physical brain to process correctly.
Yeah, and I think it's, over time, that's where we lose that connectivity to our body and what our body needs, right? And then on top of it, we're being lied to about what is healthy. And, we think that the food that is in the grocery store is good for us, right? Because the government's going to look out for us, right?
Right.
The FDA, they know what's good for us is, and so then what happens is little by little over time, it just builds up, and all the toxins and all the things that are not good for us that we keep eating. And then it affects our body over time, and we're not really able to see the shift happen. And so now we start having this mental fog, and we start feeling really sluggish. We start feeling anxious or depressed, and we don't know why. We think, oh, it's because of my job, or it's because of this or that, in which those could be factors, right? But we overlook the little by little poisons that are happening to us over time. And we are becoming uneducated, about what is really healthy for us.
Uneducated and miseducated.
And miseducated.
Like you said, there are so many lies about what truly is healthy. And as much as I love the messages that have been through the last few years of get your protein up, part of that's a lie as well.
Yeah.
And
right.
we don't talk about.
You mean you can't just eat a whole bunch of bacon?
You can't. Well, you can if you want to, but then again, the buildup is just crazy. So I know in generations back, they would say an apple every day.
Right.
And there's so much wisdom in that. But, as a business, I think as the owner of Be More You and doing nutritional coaching and recommendations, it's really hard to make money telling people to eat your fruits and vegetables.
Right.
It really is.
Supplements are
And
going to give you more money.
Right. It's just too easy. And in our culture, eating healthy isn't complicated, but it's not easy.
No, it's not easy.
Because of what all is around us and what's available in the store. And so if we go back to the basics of just eat your fruits and vegetables, how are people going to make money that way? And I think that is an economic issue that plays into this whole mess of what we call food these days, because if we have a supplement, if we have a food, then let's hybridize it. Let's make it better. Let's improve on nature. Let's do it so we can patent it. Well, then how many processes go through patents?
Right.
And if you look at any supplement bottle, what did they do to this natural element before they put it in a bottle to say, oh, this is what you need? You need vitamin C. Well, just in an orange has all of the elemental parts to make the vitamin C absorb, whereas if you just take vitamin C out, yeah, you can absorb it. But are you really getting it in nature's beauty?
Yeah, in the natural way.
Right, and you don't need as much vitamin C when you're getting it in a raw orange as you do when you're getting it out of a pill. So here, buy my pill bottle.
We were listening to something on the way in, and it said, if your grandmother doesn't recognize this as food, neither does your body.
That's good. That's really good.
So can we talk about the brain-gut connection? What does that mean?
The brain-gut connection, there is so much in the body that repeats. Like the entire body is mapped in the eye. The entire body is mapped on the hand, on the feet. So we have a brain in our skull, but we also have a brain in our heart, and we have a brain in our gut. Everything continues to layer and map and show up again in a new way, but the same.
So you're saying that our brain has neurons, but so does our heart and our gut.
Our brain has memory, our heart has memory, our gut has memory. There are memory cells in all the parts, and we're just finding this out. So with our gut and the way that connects with our brain, we want alignment between the two, and we really want those electrical connections to be working and going through. And when we have buildup, it's usually buildup in our gut, in our intestines, it blocks those transmitters to get back to our brain or to circulate. There is so much that happens in the bowel. It's amazing. And talking to a new client, I always have to be a little cautious because we do live in America and we think that we're all so sophisticated. But when we talk about health, the best way to know what's going on in your body is to pay attention to what's coming out. And that will tell you the health of your gut. That's our first clue. And when there's fog there will be fog here.
Yeah, I don't think many people know that 90% of serotonin is in our gut. And serotonin is what regulates our appetite, it's what regulates our mood, you know, and so depression and anxiety is all regulated by serotonin, and so people don't know that, right? And dopamine also is a neurotransmitter. They think that's all in the brain, but no, it is a lot happening in our gut.
It's in the gut.
Yeah.
Well.
You know, one thing that we have been really focusing on since we moved here about going on 6 years now, is our food and what we eat. You know, when we were in Chicago and we lived there all our lives, most often we would eat out. Pretty much, you know, before we moved here, we were eating out every night because we would go and work till
We really
9.
never learned how to cook
That's true.
before we moved here.
Yeah. And then obviously moving here, there's not a lot of places that are open, you know.
Get there before 7.
Exactly,
They're
right.
done.
So we had to learn how to cook, and we had to learn, you know, about our food and everything. And that's something we're on this journey on, you know, and trying to figure that out now. And now with this movie, you know, Toxic Nation that came out, it is pretty scary, actually. You know, one of the things they talked about is removing seed oils from your diet. Well, I just started looking at labels in the grocery store. It's in everything.
It is.
Everywhere.
It is.
It's pretty scary, like how you're trying to find something that doesn't have any of those seed oils in it. They talked about plastics, right, in our body and everywhere, right? Just drinking water here,
Yeah.
we're ingesting particles, tiny particles of plastic. They talked about GMO, right? And how GMO products, they affect your gut because of all the pesticides
Yeah, so before
that they
you
put
even
on
eat the orange, it's already been altered.
Right.
Yeah.
What's in the soil? How is
Yeah.
the tree health? Yeah, absolutely.
We had a meal the other day where we had homemade sourdough,
Yeah.
homemade mayonnaise with avocado oil, eggs that we raised in our garden, and we also did meat chickens. And so it's really satisfying to eat like that, and you can feel the difference immediately in your body.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
you know, I don't think it's possible to remove all of those toxins, you know, from our diet, but I think becoming aware of it and eliminating as much as you can, eating consciously, you know, I think that is really the key, you know, and knowing what it is you're putting in, even if it's something you're going out to eat and you know it's not going to be healthy for you, but you know what you're doing. You're consciously making those choices. You know, I think that puts us in the driver's seat of our health, mental, physical, spiritual, you know, and instead of being a passenger in it, right?
I think that's a very important point as far as what we eat and how we eat, that we do feel like we are the authority of our world and our being, and taking that authority and not feeling like a victim. I remember I've heard this in many different ways through different levels of health. I've heard people say they would rather you have a meal with peace, or even like if you're going to eat a donut, eat it with peace and eat it with blessing, and that's even preferred to eating make sure it's all organic and it's all good and it's all raw and it's all perfect, but you're so tense about it, trying to get it all perfect, you don't receive it the same. And so it's really important to hold that authority. I have the authority, and do I still eat donuts? Absolutely. I'm going to enjoy my life.
And
But
you
I
know
am-
that idea of blessing your food?
Yes.
They've done studies, and the chemicals or the molecules will change and become healthier if you bless your food.
And it does help even our bodies receive it and know what to do with it. It's scientific on both sides. It's not just a spiritual ritual.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is scientific, but if it's a spiritual law, then we will find it on a scientific side. We will find the evidence to support it if it's truly.
So here's a question that I think affects all human beings. We can have this knowledge, but why can't we translate that into our behaviors?
There are so many factors, and I really think that that's one of the elements of bringing all of the energy, the muscle testing, and the frequencies in my business to help people do better so they can be better, be more themselves without these other layers and expectations. I grew up very German family, or mostly German, and that's a tendency to just social is around food. That's what we do. We eat.
Schnitzel and
just
spatzel.
Eat. Knepp. And did you ever have that with
No, I never had
the
it.
oatmeal and the blended, and it's like just smear meat. I don't know even what it was, but
Smeared meat.
it was something that my grandmother and cornbread, syrup. It was just,
Oh, wow.
yeah, just a lovely German dish. So it was always around food, and when we relate our love and our social life to our food, then we're enjoying food as it's a hug in itself. And I think that is a big part of our culture. And then going out to eat, and then we're not really paying attention. Oh, this looks good. Oh, that, did you see what they had on their table? I want that. And we're not even really thinking about how many servings of fruits and vegetables did I get today? Or did I get anything raw in my diet at all? Have I seen a leaf in weeks? You know, so it's the knowing it, but then making a priority list, I really believe. And another thing that I found that's really helpful for a lot of people, because we have so many toxic choices around us all of the time.
That are addictive.
They are so addictive.
Yeah.
They are so addictive. And that addiction is feeding something that we need. It's feeding it falsely and not in a healthy way, but it is feeding a need. So instead of trying to kick those things out of our life, the better thing, at least step one, is to flood our body with nutrients. Get a really good supplement, something that, I have a great powder I love that has everything in it, and just starting to flood our body in. Start blessing things, start being intentional, start keeping a journal, not for shame, but for knowledge and for awareness. I give these little list books out to my clients, and a lot of colored pencils to make it fun, so that we can see what are we doing, just to start being conscious of what is going in every day, what are we craving. That'll tell us a lot of things about our health, and then just start flooding over top, flooding your body with those nutrients so that the cravings will subside, so you can start dealing with, taking one thing out at a time.
And that's really interesting how when we crave something, we usually need it, unless it's toxic. And then we crave it because it's saying we need it, but it never feeds that part of us, so we need more and more and more. And we had some friends over the other day, and I let one of my friends try our goat milk, which is delicious. It's sweet, tastes like melted ice cream. And she called a couple days later and she's like, "Can I get some of that? That was really good. I can't stop thinking about it." And I think when you have something that really feeds you, it does that for you. And you don't overeat those things because they do what they're supposed to do.
Because then that need is satisfied, instead of just teasing.
Yeah.
Oh, just teasing. You need a little more. Just teasing. That's how all of the addictions work.
Yeah.
And those addictive things, even just white crystallized sugar has an addictive property to it than all of the other additives that we see, red dyes and a lot of things they're trying to get out of food these days, but there's always
got a
something
ways
else.
to go.
Yeah, we have a ways to go. Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of listening to you talk, I was thinking that it's like taking a Tylenol for pain to get rid of the pain, but you're not really addressing the underlying issue of why you have pain, to begin with.
Right.
So when you go to that fast food and you eat, you're eating because there's a craving, because there's something that's missing, and you're looking for something, right? And so you get that dopamine hit from the food that you're eating, but it's not addressing the actual deficiency.
Right. And that dopamine hit is a higher high that's going to leave a lower low.
Yeah.
Because there is no balance.
Because there's a crash after the dopamine.
And then
hit.
you're trying to come back.
Yeah.
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 And then you medicate the other direction with something else.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going from this middle of the road, we're just hitting the ditches, one ditch to the other, and they're always extremes. Again, back to the awareness, if we can start mapping a little bit of what am I craving? What do I always go for? Where am I crashing during the day? Or even if I'm using things for self-medication, whether it be food or, other things.
A little bourbon?
Yeah, absolutely. Where are we using it and how are we using it? And then what is the need behind that maybe if we can be aware of it, we can start addressing it a little bit differently.
Yeah, it seems like we never accidentally get healthy.
Wait, what?
No, that doesn't happen on accident usually.
Yeah. A lot of planning and a lot of awareness.
Yeah.
And I think planning is so important because once your body gets hungry, you're not going to make a good choice if you don't have a plan.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
Never go to the grocery store hungry.
No.
No.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just becoming more conscious about what we do, understanding and connecting with our body, not just trying to emulate what other people are doing, but understanding our own unique body and what our body needs, and our mind, right, and our energy levels, all of that. If we are conscious about that, then we're going to make better choices for ourselves. And I think that's really the point that the movie was trying to, get across, and the point that, we're trying to hit on when it comes to mental health, that it is a process, and it is an ongoing process all the time. You constantly have to be aware and almost hyper vigilant about it. But what I'm also hearing from you is not the extremes, right? You can't just tomorrow just become a vegan.
You can't. You can't. And I would love to be a vegan. That is the way my body runs the best, is completely raw, no animal product. I've been there before for seasons, but I still live in America. I still live on the planet. It's just impossible. And I had to get through my own journey of frustration and anxiety that why can't I do this? I know all of this. Like you said, I know all this, I teach this, and yet I should be perfect at it, and I'm not. And once I started to relax about that and get through my own, I would say that was a piece of my own mental health that I needed to address, to just relax into do what I can and do it as wisely as possible and help people from where they are. I'm helping other people one step at a time. Why do I give myself the requirement of being perfect here? So one of the things I've learned about this this journey of wellness is knowing your own body. Some people, men tend to handle meat better than women just across the board. Blood type A's tend to not handle meat quite as well in animal products. So I'm the female and I'm the blood type A. So and growing up through family that we all have a lot of sensitivities. So I've always felt it. I've always been very aware. I don't have allergies, but I have a lot of that in my family. So food was a big awareness, even though we were German and we ate all kinds of stuff. We were still aware, this doesn't make her feel good, so this doesn't make her feel good. What about you? So that awareness of your own body, your own journey, where you are. And I think that another point to be aware of is that I'm not just dealing with me, I'm dealing with all of my history, I'm dealing with my DNA, and I myself am an ecosystem. if the yeast is too high, if the bacteria is too high, if the virals are too high, what is my terrain and how is it handling that? We're more aware now in America about parasites than we have been in decades and
For
decades.
sure.
Oh, we're too sophisticated for that. So once we became more aware of the parasitic load, whether it's a large critter or a smaller critter or what on whatever level, I just stick them all in a critter bucket. Whatever that balance is in our body or off balance is, they can have a consciousness of their own that overlays on ours. And so sometimes when we are craving sugar,
It's
is
the
it
parasite.
me or is it a critter overload? Is it a
Oh.
yeast overload? Is it a bacterial overload?
Yeah.
And the larger parasites even throw static into my energetic muscle testing because they have a consciousness and they can lie and they can
Interesting.
they can throw some static
Yeah.
in where I'm not getting clear answers until I ask specifically. No
Who am
critters
I
have-
talking
yeah,
to?
yeah. So that's an interesting level on the energy work side.
Yeah.
But sometimes just to get down to who are you and who do you really want to be?
Mm-hmm.
And when we get down to that core of who we are, especially with mental health and our food, because I do think they really go together, then we can start taking these other layers off one by one. Because the depression, if there's a depressive thing in our lifestyle that's giving us challenges, and then we start feeling lower about ourselves, then we're not worth getting a nice organic salad or, buying the better berries, or we just feel worthless in that moment. So then we feed ourselves in a less than worthy way, and then that feeds to the mental health again, and it seems like it's a downward spiral, or one side feeds the other side and the other side feeds the one side, and so they're giving us support to stay sunk in this pit. So it does take just one step at a time to climb out of the pit, and it's not just one factor in our life. When we talk about trying to find the root of an issue, many times there's so many variables that they all kind of go together. We can find a root, but even in a plant, they have all those little hairs coming off that need addressed as well.
Yeah, I've actually a real world example. Last year, I was having kind of a really minor procedure done at Delta Health, and they gave me massive antibiotics, as part of that procedure and everything, and I contracted C. diff because my microbiome, my gut, was completely killed off by the antibiotics. And so it allowed all of the nasty critters, the bad bacteria, whatever, to grow. And so, I was in the hospital for a couple days because of that. And, it really was a huge awareness for me that how important that microbiome is.
It really is.
Right? And then having to rebuild it, from there. So making sure that I'm, feeding the good stuff and, making sure that I'm watching what I eat so that I can maintain that balance, And so it's a real thing, and we're not educated, we're miseducated about a lot of things, and sometimes it takes a real life example like that for people to wake up and say, oh, maybe I really should be more conscious about what I'm doing to my body. I should be more conscious about what I'm eating and ingesting, because what I put in is what I'm going to get out, right?
Right, right. I think that when it comes to putting food into our body for our mental health, one of the best things I've found, especially in a depressive state or in a subdued state of mind for myself and clients, raw fruit is beautiful. It will lift the spirits in a way that it doesn't have any baggage with it. Now,
we have a lot
processed fruit,
Or throw you off.
yeah, yeah, but raw fruit, real berries, grapes, They're one of my favorites, the green ones.
Yeah.
That's my thing. Or watermelon in season, or even tomatoes off of the vine. They're as sweet as any other fruit. It's different when you grow it in your own garden.
Yeah.
It just is.
Oh, yeah.
And when they're fresh, they still have that spark of life. With Kirlian photography, they can take a picture and you can see that life, the light sparks still coming out of it. And so...
And I think when you bless it, that makes that's what you're blessing.
Yes.
And increasing is that.
Yes, and that's making a connection of, I am grateful for this. Life begets life. So when you're grateful and you bless it, and that becomes part of your body, you really are what you eat then. You're filling up with life and light and blessing. Yeah, very, very powerful. And then the smaller the leaf in like herbs, those are the bitter things. And those are a balancer and a cleanser. So it's always good to have something bitter, something sweet, something salty, something sour, and something pungent.
Oh, interesting. I never heard that before.
It's the 5 flavor theory that a lot of chefs use to balance the flavors.
When they
in
talk
their
about
food.
foodie food and they put all that stuff in there and it tastes fabulous. Yeah.
And it goes back to the Chinese medicine and the 5 elements, but I teach that in my raw classes of preparing raw foods. Something sweet, something
Do you
salty.
have any classes coming up?
I do.
What do you have?
there we
I
go.
do. I have some, it's a mini-series, September 1st, 8th, and 15th, I believe. It's a 3-part mini-series just of how to prepare more raw foods, how to get them in our diet. I've taught a lot about the why and the what and the how. You know, I still live on the planet. I still live in Delta, Colorado. How do I do this? You just say eat more raw fruits and vegetables and try and get 51% of your plate. You know, let's just tip the scale just a little bit. But eating a green salad every day can get really, really boring for a lot of people. And that is boring. It's boring.
It is, yeah.
So how do we do this and get all of the things in a sustainable way? What are you doing with your stuff? How do you do it with, not making it take another extra hour of prep when I'm cooking for a family and they're going to be eating spaghetti anyway, so they'll have spaghetti and a salad and I'll have salad and a spaghetti. How do we do this and really get a salad to where it's working? Or how do we make it into a sandwich? Or how do we make it into raw soups? Or there's a million different ways to do it. And so I have some recipe blueprint cards. I have the 5 flavors theory specifically mapped out for raw foods. And then I have some seasonal things, a lot of fun tools of how do I make this work and how can I make it so simple that it's brainless.
And how can people find you?
Yeah.
BeMoreYouSoundHealing.com. And I am also
You're on
here
Facebook
local.
too.
I'm on Facebook,
Yep.
Kim Schroeder, and Be More You Sound Healing. And my phone number is there. You can message me.
And you're on Main Street in
I'm
Delta.
on
We're
Main
right
Street.
here on Main Street.
Delta Professional Building, Suite 108, right in the middle of the hallway. Super easy to find. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. This has been awesome.
Thank you. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being on the podcast. It's been really informational. And if any of you have any questions, there might actually be some questions here. Just know, very interesting and so many details and tips. Thank you.
Yay.
That's
Yay.
awesome. That is great. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Kim. This podcast again is every Wednesday, 12:15. If you have any questions for us or comments or any topic suggestions, please let us know. Reach out to us at kbhcenter.org. And Jean, when we're trying to solve problems, and we're trying to find solutions, we can't find any of that without having true conversations. So let's keep talking, Delta County.